Hello and welcome to the Evereem Gaming Channel. I am your host Azur Yahoo, and today we are back in Vintage Story, but it doesn't look like Vintage Story. That's because we're looking at the launcher. Welcome to episode 0, where we're going over the mods and basically this launcher. Now this launcher, here you can see here there's a 153 error on the video here, but this launcher actually has stopped being developed. The developer has stopped continuing support and development for this because they got overwhelmed, they got burnt out basically. And so I don't think we will get any more updates to this installer. But again, like the only thing that's really going to change, as they said, is if Vintage Story like changes a bunch of code. And so this should keep working for a long time, even though it's not being kept up to date with everything. But you can see here, I'm currently logged in. We got our home page. We have installations, versions, mods, config, and info and help. Now, I think versions and installations need to be switched because the first thing we want to do is select our version to install. So you can see here, I have several different versions installed. Now I can add a new version. I can even add release candidates, but there's no pre-releases, and that's part of the issue of this not being kept up to date, is that this is not going to have like the pre-releases. Okay, so then once we install the version we want, right, once we install that, then we come to those installations, and we're going to add an installation of that version, and we can name it whatever we want. Up to 50 characters, so 5 to 50 characters. We can give it an icon if we want, whatever icon we want to give it. And so you can see here that I do have 2 installations here, 1.21.6, both with the same version. So you can have multiple versions, but different installations of those versions installed. You don't have to have just one version. You don't have to have one installation of each version, I should say. And so here you can see here, you can come in here, you can check your mods, you can like see the backups, you can even edit the installation and all that things right from here if you want. Also, though, down here in the lower left, there are those similar buttons as well for a lot of that. And then we can select here from here which installation we want to play. But if we go over to the mods, we can see here that on the mods page, we have these dark gray backgrounds. And then like for firearms, better ruins, those are dark gray. But the brownish backgrounds are the ones that are already installed. So the dark grays are not installed. The brownish ones are the ones installed. And so you can see here, I have a lot of mods installed on this version. Now, if we want to uninstall or look at those, we would go to the mods installed on this version. And so I kept this here to show you guys, but we have one here that is farmlands drop soil. So I think it's at certain percentages and everything, like we could still get our farmland back, but we can't open the mod DB from here with this one. Now we can with the other ones that are up to date, but we are not able to open the mod DB for this one right here. Now we could if we went back to mods and we searched for that mod. So if we said farmland drops, and then right here, farmland drops soil. Oh, this one's by Copy Girl, but that's not brown. That's not the one that's currently installed. So that's weird. I'm pretty sure that was the one that was installed. So I'm surprised it's not like brown background saying that it is installed. So that is interesting. If I come back here, yeah, I can't see which one this is, so I can't do anything. But I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. Now, if I wanted to delete any other mods or anything like that, we can do that. We can also update. So we can see here we have several mods to update. Now, if I click on the update, I can update to certain versions for this canned jewelry mod. And it looks like version 5 0.5.20 is for 1.21.6. Let's go ahead and update that, and that's how easy it is to update. That's it. That's like, I don't have to download and then copy it from the downloads folder into my mods folder and delete the old one. Nope, this does it for you, everything for you, just like that. So let's go ahead and look at now. We can do the pre-release version of this mod if we wanted to, but it looks like I have the latest stable version, so I'm going to skip that one. I think the same thing here for Coinage. Coinage has a lot of pre-releases, and these are for all these. I think possibly even 1.22. I'm not sure, but I'm going to go ahead and skip that one as well. Now this one looks like they have a good pre-release here, because the red ones are for the 1.22. I can't, like, I'm not going to be able to use those. That's why they're red. But let's go ahead and update the JSON Patches lib and then see what Real Smoke has here as well. They have a bunch of release candidates. Looks like this one's a stable version of the mod. Let's go ahead and update to that one. Now it didn't go away because it's telling me I could update to the dev version or the release candidate version of this mod, which I'm not really interested in at this time. And then that's mods with updates. And then we got mods with incompatible updates. Just here, you know, so these have updates that are with incompatible versions. But these are a bunch of mods that I have on here currently. So I got Alchemy, BloodTrail, ConfigLib, the GUI. I think it's an immersive GUI. Or it says immediate GUI. Footprints. So carry on is going to, so let's just go from these from the beginning here. So carry on is going to allow me to carry various things. Coinage, I can add coins, coin making to the game, which I may or may not use. Real Smoke just is physics-based smoke. Alchemy is adding a bunch of alchemy potions to the game. BloodTrails helps with the hunting aspect of the game. ConfigLib is a universal place that we can configure the mods, and also we have the GUI. Now footprints, like players and animals both leave footprints when moving, so that also helps us kind of track or see what animals are in the area. This patches lib, it's a convenient syntax basically for JSON assets. Not really kind of something we can play with in game, but a culinary artillery experimental here. We have that adds an armory of food-based food things to the game. We have advanced backpack construction system, which helps us like basically be able to upgrade our backpacks. Animal cages, so we can catch animals a lot easier. We have attribute rendering library, which is just a library for one of these mods here. And then we have auto map markers. Auto map markers automatically adds map markers when you interact with certain things in the world. It's pretty much configurable, but it doesn't add like a bunch of modded things. So like BetterTraders adds like more traders. And so a lot of those traders we can't actually use the auto map markers for, but I think it's just the kitchenware one. But that could be, I think that might be added by a culinary artillery. But anyway, so this interacts with a lot of things, but not everything. And so it just helps without having to have a ton of those macros to use to map mark things. And this is much faster and easier than manually doing everyone. So it's very, very helpful. My top recommended one right here, auto map markers. Better fire pits basically improves the fire pit behavior. BetterTraders replaces the vanilla traders with new structures and things. Bola adds a throwing weapon used to immobilize creatures, which is going to be really helpful when we're trying to capture different animals, or basically making fighting kind of easier, especially when we're really squishy in the early game. Bullseye is just a mod that helps archery Butchering, you can carry butchered animal, or you can carry animals that you've killed on your back and in a butchering bag, and you can actually like get different drops and things from them. Butchering and Seraph leveling. So I do have Seraph leveling in this, where we can, level up our character as well. And so this is just a compatibility with the butchering mod with the Seraph leveling mod. Now canned jewelry adds different gems and jewelry and with buffs and everything that we can put on our equipment things. QP chisels mod, again, highly recommend QP chisels mod that adds just a bunch of chiseling tools and abilities. Combat overhaul changes the combat system. And then I have the armory here, which gives you weapons and shields and armor. CommonLib, I think, goes with the extra overlays. It's basically just another library. Composter helps decompose things much faster. And so instead of having to wait a ton of time, we can just turn it into rot really fast, especially for things that I will not be eating. I'm going to be putting in here. And so we got Dana tweaks, which adds various tweaks. We got Draconis, which adds dragons to the game. We have Equus wild horses, which is a fictional breed of horses. Expanded foods kind of goes with the our culinary artillery there. It adds new recipes for existing food types. Extra info just adds a lot of more information that we can get for blocks and like the timers and everything. Extra overlays adds health bars. Now I did add bulls and bovine, so bison, buffalo, antelope, and things like that, because I will not be eating any bush meat, and I will not be eating any pork meat in this playthrough. Okay, so this is something that will help provide a lot more of the red meat. But it's a bovine, so basically I can basically have cows and kind of domesticate some cows. So food shelves here, it contains various food shelves and food storage. From Golden Combs adds a complexity to it basically adds like a complexity to the bees and keeping them, where we can actually have like, we can have long straw boxes. And so we can actually have a more reliable source of honey and honeycombs without having to go through a ton of things. So Genelib, basically it adds genetics for other mods. Glider changes the glider behavior to feel like more like soaring instead of like basically the immediate drop that it has. Grapes and wine, I really would like to kind of work towards having a vineyard. This would be really great. Hydrate or Diedrate adds thirst to the game, so we will kind of want that vineyard. We will want a way to have a lot of things to hydrate ourselves with, even though there's water. But you know, who likes water? Let's get some juice in here or some wine. Now, Jaunt is part of the equine and the Equus, I should say, the equine and the dragons mod. This is basically their rideable system. Milwright is just better windmills. Natural fertilizer basically adds a natural fertilizer created from animal droppings. So when we feed our animals, they will create droppings for us that we can then turn into fertilizer. Overhaul Lib is just a library, mostly for the combat overhaul system and things like that. Now we have player's corpse, so that way when we die, we don't have to worry about everything despawning. Because if you didn't know this, in Vintage Story, 10 minutes is 10 minutes. And so it doesn't matter if the chunk's loaded or not, 10 minutes is 10 minutes. So like if it takes you 20 minutes to get back to where you died, that stuff will be gone. More than likely, this will keep it. Now we will be going over the settings where I'm going to actually increase that to like an hour, but this just prevents us from losing anything that we worked really hard on getting. Now, primitive survival adds traps, fishing, and all that stuff. for the game. Now, I know that 1.22 has fishing, and I really want to upgrade to that. But I wouldn't be able to have a lot of these mods that really add a lot of quality of life things to them. Especially like the storage mods. It's like Purposeful Storage here adds a variety of storage blocks. So that way we can store a lot of things differently. Quivers and sheaths. This again adds a quiver. So that way I can store my arrows kind of in a separate thing other than my backpacks. River Gen mod. Now there's rivers and there's river gen. Now the rivers and everything, like I couldn't get that to work. I had chunks that would not be, they wouldn't load in and they wouldn't be generated. I've not had any problems with river gen. But then again, I don't have better ruins on. And so there's a better ruins mod, which river gen does not it's not compatible with. Again, we have Seraph leveling. Smithing plus, basically we can repair our tools and kind of gives a lot of quality of life improvements. Now I do know in 1.22 they are changing a lot of the smithing things, but this kind of helps bring that kind of similar things to earlier versions. Now I do have soap and lye, but I don't want soap and lye. I wanted the other one. So let's go back to mods here and let's see here. Soap, bloom and lather. This is the one I want, except for it was, I think that's why. I don't think it was for this version. But again, I could install it. And it's just going to be kind of out of date for a lot of that, but come back down here. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this soap and lye, and I'm going to go with the bloom and lather. Now split hide just allows larger hides to be put into smaller pieces. Spyglass basically allows us to have the zoom feature, but we have to make a spyglass first. So we have to be at least in the Middle Age before we can start zooming in on things. Status HUD. I like this HUD a lot better. It displays status information and it's configurable. You can add things and remove things. So step up advanced, automatically step up blocks without jumping. It's fully configurable and toggleable. Stone bake oven basically adds a big oven like that we can use for baking. Stone quarry mod is a great mod for having like big chunks of stone that we can have instead of like doing it manually and getting a ton of little stones. And then we can get like rock and polished rock and things like that from it. Tanning Redux is a simple mod for basically refactoring tanning numbers and process. I do want to stack temporal gears. I'm not sure why they don't stack. Because the rusty gears stack, everything else stacks, but temporal gears don't. So I have this because I think they should stack. Terrapreti, again, a world generation mod, adding more natural and beautiful, enjoyable terrain. Toolsmith kind of goes with the smithing plus a little bit. We can upgrade our tools with proper handles and bindings and durability and other buffs. Translocator engineering redux. Basically we can deconstruct and construct and link static translocators and move them around, so we can kind of build like a hub. Vanity, I can hide gear and make it kind of invisible and things like that, but we can still have the buffs of the armor. Vinconomy kind of goes along with the coinage. I may not be using this a whole lot because I'm going to be single player here. So probably like I won't be using this one. So I'm going to go ahead and actually get rid of this one. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the coinage mod. Just because those I'm not going to be using in the single player here. So come back down here, invisible ore. Now I think there's also like juicy ores. I've not messed around with the juicy ores, but then again, that like makes the ores look really, really weird. I like this one. It's kind of more aligned with vanilla, but it makes things more visible, especially when you get to like zinc in, I think it's zinc in granite looks like you almost can't see it. Web cartographer. So this creates a web map for Vintage Story save files. So then I can kind of upload and kind of have the map and things. Now the color exporter, because I will be running with the color map on. So then I can export it as a color map. Wild farming revival, basically cultivate flowers, herbs, mushrooms, and trees and bushes and more. Xandus inventory tweaks. Basically, this is really great for a lot of inventory improvements. And then we got XLib, which is the library for X skills. So then we can skill up and add skills to our character. Okay, that's pretty much everything. We're back down to 69. 69 mods. So let's go ahead and play. Now it would be even less. It'd be even less when like I would take, like, let's say I would take out the web cartographer mods, then we can reduce that by another couple, because this really isn't kind of needed for single player. But I'm going to go ahead and leave them there just for now. So let's go ahead and get into Vintage Story here. So I'm going to go ahead and create a single player. Now you guys can see here, this is my building tutorials, and I have a standard test facility. But I'm going to go ahead and create a new world. Okay. And I do want to call this I want to call it something special here. Okay, so I'm going to call this Yarn Horn. Okay, which, in case you guys didn't know, is Norwegian for iron horn. And let's go ahead and customize this. I don't have a world seed. I do want to increase this up to 320 blocks instead of 250. So I don't have a world seed for this. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can get a good random seed here. It will be survival, infinite lives. I'm going to go ahead and start in a warm climate. Random respawn. I'm going to change down to 25. Grace timer. I'm going to give myself 10 days before monsters start appearing. I'm going to be sleeping through the nights probably a lot, especially when I'm early game and I'm very squishy. We can go ahead and drop inventory contents on death. But again, I'm going to change this to 1 hour before items dropped on death respawn or despawn. And then let's go ahead and go over to the survival challenges. So we're going to go ahead and enable seasons. Now 9 days is default. Like 30 days are kind of like if you want to have like really like 24 hours real life. If you're playing like multiplayer and somebody's constantly in there, you might want to have 30 days so that way they don't miss out on a lot of things. But I think since I'm about to do like about maybe like 1 episode a day, might do 9 days. I might do 30 and then just like compress a lot of the things down into the interesting things I'm doing. True winters are enabled. And now block gravity, I'm only going to do sand and gravel with, and soil with sideways instability. Now I'm not really too keen on the sideways instability of soil. Cave-ins, I'm going to go ahead and disable. I'm going to leave that as disabled, but I will allow sand and gravel to fall. I will allow fire to spread. Now fire from lightning, default is off. I'm going to go ahead and leave it that way. Underground farming, I do not want to allow underground farming, and to prevent liquid source transport by buckets, I'm going to go ahead and leave that as default. I'm going to go ahead and start with the default 15 hit points. normal health regeneration, normal hunger rate, my lung capacity. I think we'll go up to 60 seconds, at least 1 minute. I mean, seems normal. I mean, maybe 2 minutes might be, normal too, if you can hold your breath for like 2 minutes normally. But I think 60 seconds is pretty good. It's just like, it's just the one right below the 2 minutes. So it's not like I can do like 90 seconds or something like that. So we'll go ahead and do 60 seconds. Body temperature hardiness, we'll say is 0 degrees centigrade. Normal walk speed, aggressive creature hostility, creature strength, normal, 200% creature swim speed. Food spoilage rate is at normal. And we got normal sapling growth time. We have tool durability is normal. Tool mining speed is normal. Prospecting pick is 6 blocks. Micro chiseling for stone, wood, and bricks. Or we could do most cubic blocks. But I think I'll just leave it as stone, wood, and bricks. Although I think if I did most cubic, I think we could do soil as well. I think. But coordinate overlay, yes. World map, yes. Now I'm going to do a color accurate world map as well. I do want to use the lore content. So just warning for a lot of you guys that, if you're watching some later episodes that come out, you might have spoilers if you've not experienced the lore content just yet. But there are a lot of videos out there currently that do have a lot of that lore content already kind of exposed already. So we have to repair any clutter if we want to obtain it. Next, we'll go for temporal stability. So temporal stability, I'm going to go ahead and activate that. Every 10 to 20 days, increasing in strength by 10%. Now, we could say every 20 to 30 days or every 30 to 40 days. But you can see here, like as we kind of decrease the amount of frequency, it also decreases the strength each time. So I think we'll go ahead and leave that as default. Temporal storm strength, I'm going to leave it normal. Obviously I want visible rifts, and I'm going to go ahead and give myself infinite temporal gear respawns. Sleeping during temporal storms, I'm going to go ahead and allow this because I'm not going to be doing a lot of that in the early game. And I'm going to go ahead and just skip over a lot of those in the early game where I'm not going to be kind of fighting a lot of things. Now, I don't have a really good temporal storm shelter where I can fight a lot of that things. But I'm going to go ahead and allow it. And I'll see here. I might try to do some fighting in the temporal storms pretty early on. I'm going to go ahead and leave climate distribution realistic. Now land cover, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go look at my notes here. I'm pretty sure land cover was increased because no, maybe it was decreased. Oh yeah, that's right. So land cover is at 60%. Land cover scale, I think was 200%. So I brought those down. An upheaval rate was 10%. Now geologic activity I have as rare. Landform scale I have as 100%. So this is basically, so I'm just going to go back here to land cover and land cover scale. So I reduced it down to 60%. So 60% of the world will be covered by land. And then out of that land, it's going to be 200% the size. Okay, so this was like 90 some percent. I think it was like 97.5 or something like that. And then like 500, like that, like those would create giant continents and very little oceans and rivers and things. Whereas bumping this down to 60% for land cover means that only 60%, not 90 some percent, only 60% of the world would be land. The rest is oceans. Okay. And out of that, the size of those land, like the continents, is only 200%. Okay. So it's not, it's a bit bigger than normal. Actually, it's twice as big as probably like 100%, but I don't know why they had that default of 500%. So this will just create like kind of big oceans and somewhat decent sized continents. Now, let's go ahead and continue on here. So landform scale is 100%. World width is 1 million blocks by 1 million blocks by width and length. Now, I could increase this up to 8 million by 8 million, but I don't see any reason that this needs to be like that high or anything like that. Now, the world edge, I have it as traversable that I can fall down. I don't have any reason to go to the world edge currently. Now, the polar to equator distance is 100,000 blocks, meaning that to go from the North Pole to the equator is going to take me 100,000 blocks. And then to go from the equator to the South Pole would be another 100,000. So that's just how many blocks out of the 1 million blocks here that it's going to take to get to each one. So the story structure distance, I'm going to go ahead and leave it as normal, 100%. Global temperature, normal. Global precipitation, normal. Forestation and shrubs, I'm going to leave it normal. Global deposit spawn rate I'm going to leave that as default. Surface copper, I'm going to go ahead and leave it as rare. Tin, extremely rare. Snow and ice are enabled. Now we could take this down from surface copper to uncommon, and then take this down to very rare instead of extremely rare. Actually, I think we're going to take this down to very rare, just one away from this. But that might mean that we can skip straight to the tin bronze. I'm hoping not. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and leave that just extremely rare, I guess. Because with very rare, I could probably find enough surface tin, to just make a copper pick and then jump like copper pick and a copper hammer and jump straight to tin bronze. Or actually, if I find enough tin like surface deposits, I could probably jump straight to tin bronze pick and hammer. So that might be something that would need worked. And I might have to think about that a lot more if I really want to go with the very rare or extremely rare. I think I'll leave it as default, extremely rare. And then the last thing, multiplayer. Now I don't have any, like, this is going to be single player, but there's land claiming where I can claim land. There's class exclusive recipes I will get rid of because I'm not playing in multiplayer. So I do want access to all of the recipes because nobody else will be on to help me craft those recipes. I'm not going to be able to. And then the auction house I really don't need, but go ahead and leave that on. So let's go ahead and apply that. And so let's go ahead and create the world. And I will see you guys in the next one.